Welcome into another edition of the Leadership Library, hosted by CEO and author Rocky Romanella. Rocky is the author of the book Tighten the Lug Nuts, The Principles of Balanced Leadership, and has over 40 years of business experience as a prominent member of the UPS Supply Chain Solutions team, as well as the CEO of Unitech Global Services. So sit back, grab your notebook, and take a seat, and get ready for this edition of the Leadership Library.
Welcome to the Leadership Library podcast. I'm your host, Rocky Romanella, and today we're going to wrap up our core principles with the letter E. I think this one sometimes is the most challenging one, and sometimes maybe one of the most difficult ones for you as a leader. And I'll explain why. C makes sense, clarity. You want to make sure there's no confusion. The O is one that's interesting, and maybe some of you hearing it for the first time, only accept the person's best and challenging them not to stop at the first right answer. The R for refocusing makes sense because we've all been in those meetings, and now especially with Zoom calls, you really got to stay focused. You really got to keep it tight and make sure that you're very succinct in what you're talking about. This next one, though, is the one that I think really can challenge you as a leader and as as an individual holding yourself and your people accountable. And that's expect commitment and then follow up. First of all, they have to understand that that's part of who you are as a leader, that's part of your DNA, right? That you expect commitment. You expect commitment of yourself and you expect commitment of them. But that may not always be that obvious to them. So I think that happens when you have a conversation, you summarize that conversation, you rephrase the conversation, and then you say to them, well, why don't you tell me what you think this all means and what role you play in it? That now begins that expect commitment, right? Because once I say to you, can you kind of roll it back to me, explain to me what it is that we just talked about and how you view it and what role you play in it, all of a sudden now begins that commitment process. And so if you're new to a business unit, you just got transferred in there, you may have just gotten promoted, or maybe you just joined a new organization, people don't always assume that that's your MO, that you expect commitment and then you follow up on everything. So you're going to have to train them and teach them by the way you conduct yourself and the conversations you have with them. I think one of the first things you do is set that precedent and set that tone and tenor that you're always going to summarize, you're always going to rephrase, and you're always going to expect them to repeat back, which then begins that commitment process. I think, like I said, you ask for the employee's understanding, and then I think you have to directly ask for that employee's commitment. If you understand it, can I count on you? Can I have your commitment? This is no different than some of the issues we have with sales executives at times. You go on a visit with a salesperson, they have a great meeting with a customer, they give them the trinket, they give them the thank you, they have the conversation, and then you leave and no one's asked for any additional work. No one asks for more volume or revenue. No one asks for a deeper, wider commitment. This is such a difficult part of the process. And so I think it's important for you to be able to, in your own style, in your own fashion, ask for commitment. I'm going to work with you. I'm going to have these conversations with you. You've responded back. You've demonstrated that you understand what it is we're trying to accomplish. You've actually maybe demonstrated in a training session that you understand how to do it. You showed me that you can do it. I need your commitment. I need you to verbalize back that you're participating and I can count on you. And I think you want people to participate. You want them to participate. You ask them, hey, look, you understand it, but if something changes, if there is a point when this seems confusing to you, or maybe you thought you understood it, but you don't, raise your hand and let me know, because I want you to participate. I want you to be an active participating in what we're trying to accomplish. And then I think follow-up. Follow-up is the difference between a good manager and an excellent manager. The difference between a good plan or a plan that fails and a plan that succeeds. There could be two plans, could be the same plans, but I didn't follow up and something went off the rail a little bit and there was no follow-up. We couldn't get back on plan and now it goes completely off. Or, you know what, I'm following up and I realize there's a disconnect and now I help you get back on plan. So follow-up is such an important part of it. So I think you have to let people understand that part of your management style is expecting commitment, both from you to them and them to you, and then you follow up so that it's no different than when, when I was a teenager, my mom said, hey, be home at 11. If I came home at 11:10 and nobody was around, I looked around and said, okay, I guess the new now time is 11:10. Next week it's 11:20. I look around, nobody said a word, no one's up. So 11:20 is the new return home time. Now at 11:30, I come home and she's standing in the kitchen. Okay, now I know that's the line. Okay, I can't be home by 11:30. Well, your employees tend to do that to you as well, right? So by you following up, by you expecting commitment, you never allow them to get themselves in trouble. Like if my mom was there at 11:01 that first night, I probably wouldn't have went past 11 o'clock, right? So think about it from that perspective, in that simple example. So you want to expect commitment and then follow up and show people through your actions that you're that type of individual, that they can expect commitment from you, you expect commitment from them, and you're going to follow up on all the things that you have conversations about. That E can be some of the most difficult. It can be time consuming, but maybe one of the most important parts of that whole process of communication and accountability. So those are our core principles. Clarity, only accept the person's best, right? Then, the R is refocus, and the E is expect commitment and then follow up. Those are our core principles that'll help you become the best version of yourself as a leader that you can be. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being part of the Leadership Library family. And those are our core principles. That's our series on core principles. Thank you. Be safe, and I will talk to you soon.